Welcome to the Warband, a World of Warcraft podcast. My name is Swag, and with me, as always, my friend and tank fellow blood DK, Chicken. Dude, Chicken, how are you doing, bro?
Yo, what's going on, baby?
Not much. I think I asked you first, though.
Oh, yeah, I guess technically you did. Yeah, not too much, you know. Hey, it's all good, man. It's been one of those weeks, and hey, it's going to be even a better week, but there's a lot of stuff going on, and we'll talk about that, of course. But how was your week/weekend? I know you had a cool little thing you did over the weekend. So
yeah. You know,
let's kind of talk about that. And
yeah, it's fascinating because we have a lot to talk about today in Warcraft news, right?
But I think the listeners would like to hear this because this is kind of like nerdy level like that.
Yeah,
I think they would enjoy it.
Yeah, well, again, a lot happening this right when the podcast comes out on Monday, the following Tuesday, so the day after, we have a lot coming out with Prepatch, a lot happening, and so actually, surprisingly, there's a bunch I wanted to try and get done, just like small random things before the season kind of concluded. Didn't do any of it because I actually haven't logged into WoW in the last few days, and normally when I would say I haven't logged into WoW in a few days, I feel guilty, right? Like saying that on the podcast, I'm like, oh, I got to keep playing WoW. I got to stay up to date. And I also know what it's like when you're listening to another podcast and they're like, oh, I don't even play WoW anymore. Like, you kind of just tune it out, right? Like, you're like, oh,
what?
Dude, well, why should I care? Like, if you don't even care, right? Like, how am I? Now, in this case, though, let me just clarify two things. One, I've been keeping as up to date as I possibly can with all the news coming out on Prepatch and everything else. Because, I want to, right? Like, I want to stay up to date. Two, it's not because I haven't been enjoying WoW. I've literally been away all weekend on a like D&D like retreat in a cabin like up in the woods. Like we drove like 4 hours away, rented a Airbnb A-frame cabin thing, and like it was just me and the boys just playing D&D for an entire weekend, and it was fun. It was a blast. We had a great campaign. Just honestly, the real fun is just hanging out with your friends, right? And so. It was a good time. It was a genuinely really good time.
You drove 4 hours?
Well, I didn't personally drive. I rode in the car.
Dang, dude.
Yeah,
Bro, if I'd have known you were driving that far, I would have let you stay at my cabin.
Dude, you have a cabin?
Yeah, it's a long story. Not for the podcast, though.
I'll have to get news on that one later. But anyways, no, yeah, it was a good time though. It was like very like modern. It was like very modern on the inside. Like you could tell it was like recently built.
Oh yeah.
Definitely built for the purpose of being an Airbnb, but it was beautiful. I will say though, part of the reason why we chose that location was we were doing this like winter blizzard themed campaign, kind of like a semi-murder mystery in a mansion type thing in the middle of blizzard, ice trolls, the whole 9 yards. However, we got like a dusting of snow, like the first morning we had like a dusting of snow, which we were kind of hyped about. Turns out back home, everybody was getting tons of snow. So like,
oh my gosh,
like we went to the mountains so we could have a bunch of snow for the thematic of the campaign. And we come home, we're like, wait a second. Dude, it
That's
like
hilarious.
snowed here. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, we got a ton of snow.
Dude, we got
the Philly area.
Yeah, because we got like a dusting, and then like 2 hours later, it's like all melted away. So like I got like a decent picture, but then it was like gone.
Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh, we got so much snow in the Philly area. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, but it was genuinely a wonderful time with the guys. I really enjoyed it.
That sounds kind of fun.
Although normally I'm more of just like a introverted homebody. Like I just like being home. I like hanging out, playing my games, watching TV. Right, like that's where I'm most relaxed. And so it takes a lot for me to be like, yeah, you know what? Why don't I get up and like head out for a weekend? Because and I don't know if anyone else who listens is the same way, but like, dude, I feel like I'm missing out on rest if I do that. Right, like even leading up to it, I'm just like, oh, am I going to feel rested going into Monday for work? Should I also take Monday off? Like, do I need a vacation to make up for my vacation? Right? Like, all that fun stuff. And it probably a little bit of it is because I have something fun going on at work tomorrow. Fun in parentheses, just a project I'm very excited to finally get my hands on.
Fun in parentheses.
Yeah. a project I'm very excited to get my hands on. I want to clarify, it's not like a party or something, right? Like a project that I'm excited to start on. So like at least I'm going into Monday like it's gonna be good tomorrow. It's gonna be good. But I've missed playing WoW. I've missed hanging out with my wife, right? Like I was so excited to get like the whole drive home. Like I get to see my best friend again. Right? Like not chicken to clarify, my wife.
Yeah, I didn't see you today.
Yeah. However, I have been very hyped to get home. Very hyped to kind of play some WoW. I feel bad. I had told my wife I would set up the computer so she could play some WoW and do some housing while we were recording, and we just were trying to take care of snow stuff outside and lost track of like time just shoveling and because again where we're at it's just a lot of shoveling, and so now I'm like crap, I have to go record. I'm late already, and but I want to get into some WoW. I'll probably play maybe tomorrow when I get home. I'll see what ends up happening, but I'm really itching, especially with Prepatch. I'm itching. But Chicken, what have you been up to, dude?
Yeah, it's been one of those weeks, and wow, dude, it's been a bit of a grind. I got a lot of stuff done. It's kind of a therapeutic last week, if you will. There was just a lot of things that, and this sounds weird to say out loud, and if my mother ever listens to this episode of the podcast for some reason, I don't mean this in a mean way. I mean this in a very nice way.
Very nice way.
Opposite of mean. But
I'm sure we have a few listeners who will probably relate. I don't even know what you're saying, but
I was just like so my in-laws visited last week, and I just didn't get a lot of time to play last weekend. And my mother and stepfather were considering visiting this weekend, and I knew like I had so much. I was like, I really want to get KSL. I really want to get AOTC. Like I'd really like to get Kai Vezza down. On double question mark. I'd like to get Gladiator.
Saving it all for the last week. Wait, yeah, I was thinking no shot you did Gladiator.
I was thinking about getting Gladiator. I was probably gonna get Cutting Edge too.
Yeah.
And then, anyways, it turns out that they didn't. My mom is still a little sick, so they're like, "Oh, we're gonna come another time." And I was like, "Yes, I get to play WoW! Like, let's do this!"
Yep.
And then we ended up doing the guild raid, and we got AOTC on Wednesday, first night, which I got a lot to say about that. We'll talk about that right after this. I got so many thoughts. And then literally Thursday, I got KSL, and I was like, well, I guess my parents could have came anyways, because it was like, okay, yeah, they could have came.
Yeah, all done.
They would have came Friday. I was like, I got it all done. I was like so nervous. I was like, we're gonna end up raiding Wednesday and Thursday, and I'm not going to get any time to play any time to do dungeons to try to put into KSL. And then we got the raid down really quickly. I knocked out 2 more dungeons and got KSL, and here we are. I did Loki. So the Kai Vezza thing was real. I did want to do the double question mark, but I tried it a couple of times, and I was like, I just don't have the patience for this right now. Like I should have tried it like weeks ago, and I probably would have been able to do it. It's definitely, I think it was probably the funnest double question mark. It's the only one I didn't do, but it definitely took a lot of skill and a lot of like everything counted. Like you couldn't make a mistake or else you were done. Like that's literally what it was. So that was kind of interesting, and I can understand why people really liked it. But yeah, it was hard. I tried it a bunch of times, and I was like, "There's no way I get this." So I don't know if you tried either the single question mark or the double question mark at Kai Vezza, but it was difficult.
It was in my back. It was in the back of my mind to do, and I don't know, for whatever reason, never. Just maybe I regret not getting the title. Right, the title that comes with it would have been really cool. Maybe tomorrow. No, I'm not. I don't have enough time at home tomorrow to like.
No, dude. There's no way you just jump in and do it. There's no way.
You'd be surprised. I'm pretty goated.
I kind of want you to try it just once, and like low key, I want you to try it once and just like clear cut, just tell me like, yeah, I could have got this, or you're like, no way.
Maybe I'll log in late tonight and find out.
Just one time, just be like, yeah, there's no way.
Yeah, easy dubs. However, the two things I want to talk about, right? One, KSL. I think you're very similar to me with dungeons, where like I really started this season just pugging everything. I get awkward, dude. I'll be honest. I get awkward. Like constantly asking around, and I don't always know when I'm gonna hop on or not hop on. So I don't like planning in advance. I don't like being like, oh hey everybody, come, let's do it at this time. Because honestly, dude, sometimes I get home from work and I'm like, dude, I just want to hang with my wife for a minute, right? Like, it was maybe easier. I think it was probably easier when I was like single, where like, like I just whatever time, like hanging out with friends was like the thing I looked forward to the most. And so doing dungeons with people was easy, right? Like it was so easy to plan. And now it's a little bit harder because my schedule's a little bit more all over the place. I will say though, I was appreciative that we had guildmates who like stepped up or like, hey, we can help out. Like let's run this. And one of the things I realized running with those guildmates is like I didn't feel like I was holding them back, right? Like, like when you're carried, like, when you're carried.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, oh, yeah, dude, I'm being carried. It didn't feel like I was being carried. It just felt like, oh, good, we have a coordinated group. And, like, it just feels so much better. Like, it's just everything, right? Like, I wasn't, like, dying to stuff. I was keeping my heels up. I was keeping everybody alive, right? Like, our group was doing well. Everybody was just playing. They were communicating. And it made KSL a lot easier. I think I noticed that like we had a few of our guildmates because you're kind of similar, right? Like I think you will almost never ask people to do dungeons with you. You might ask me. You might be like, "Yo, Swag, can you come heal or something?" But even that's usually a stretch, right? I get the impression you're kind of similar to me, where it's like I'd rather just log on and queue and see what happens because I also don't want to sit here and wait for like 30 minutes while everybody logs on, right?
Yeah, right.
Like if I'm on right now, I can't justify that, right? Like I can't justify sitting in Dornigal being like, "Oh yeah, I'll wait for this person to finish their dungeon, and I'll wait for that person to get home from work, and I'll wait." Like, it's hard to justify that, but having some guildmates who are just like, yo, we're on right now. Like, we'll step up. We'll run this with you.
Yeah, let's just do it, right?
Was awesome. Was awesome, right? And again, I want to clarify, because it wasn't the case for me, and I've played with you enough that it wasn't the case for you. It wasn't like a carry, right? It's just fun playing with people who are coordinated and communicate together. And it helps you kind of realize, like, because sometimes you question, like, when you're struggling to get that 13 time pugging, you're like, dude, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I kind of suck, right? And then you run with a coordinated group, and you're like, oh, no, actually, like, I think it was just bad groups, right? Like, yeah, right? Like, pugging's hard, especially when you get those higher keys, right? Like, lack of communication, pugging is really hard. And so I'm proud of you, dude. I'm very proud of you for getting KSL. That's a big achievement for both of us this season. Neither of us had pulled it off before, and that's a big milestone for us. The other thing I want to mention is you got AOTC this week, right? And compared to KSL, AOTC probably isn't the biggest achievement ever.
It's right. Yeah, I think it's still big.
I like AOTC. However, the reason I want to bring up AOTC is because you weren't able to raid with us this season, right? So it's not like, I want to clarify, everybody, it's not like you were raiding all season and then you finally got the boss down, right? Like, you just weren't really able to raid this season. I think you did some LFR stuff and maybe dabbled in some normal, maybe, just to see some fights. But what was really interesting this week, I remember on Wednesday we went in. Actually, before we even go in, one of the hard things, so our guild was doing one of those like, hey, we're going to do one more push on Dimensius to see if we get HCC. For some reason, we weren't really re-clearing Dimensius this season. I think the way gearing is right now... I can
understand why. I can understand why.
I think the way gearing is right now, like, I don't know, it didn't feel like there was a lot of value to it, especially when you're like, oh, I can just... If there's something I really want...
Just wait until 0.5 and just get it with the dinar.
Yeah, right? I can just get it with the dinar. But... it is still hard, though, and tricky when we go, hey, we're going to do, like, end of the season. Let's make one more push. Anyone who hasn't gotten AOTC, come get AOTC, right? And what's tough with that, and I probably shouldn't really talk too much about it on the podcast, but I'm going to talk about it because it's fascinating and I think it's relatable. And if you're listening to the podcast and you're like, wait, I think that describes me, that's okay. That's okay. If the person I'm describing is you, what I want you to take away from what I'm about to say is not a critique of you as a person or an individual, but rather, I want you to listen to it as an observation of a situation and recognize how you can come in with even better odds next time, right? I think that's kind of what I want to get at with this, right? I'm not critiquing you as a person, but I am saying, hey, here's some keys to be successful in raiding, right? So anyways, all that to say, the hard thing as a guild when you go, hey, we're gonna go do a one more AOTC push, right? Because this really, again, we kind of stopped fighting Dimensius, so we never really took people who weren't in the raid team through. And what's difficult, and I keep stalling because it's awkward, but what's difficult is when that happens, you kind of get a bunch of people who suddenly raise their hands and go like, oh, awesome, I want to go. I want to be a part of that. That's great, right? And then you get really nervous because you start to look at everybody who's raising their hand to go, because you're not going to tell people no. They're not really, no, you can't go.
It's like, whoa.
Right? But like, you kind of start looking at it, and granted, you set like an eye level minimum. So you're like, hey, we gave a very generous eye level minimum. I think ours was like 695.
Oh my goodness.
It was 695. So a very, very generous minimum eye level, right? Like, Lex is a wonderful raid leader, right? And if it was me, I probably would have been like 710, right? Like,
dude, that's exactly the number I was thinking. 710,
right?
Easily,
right?
I was like, yeah, 710.
But that's right. But that's assuming these are players who've been like running like decent Mythic Plus most of the season and have been like juicing up on gear, right? And I think what's hard is the player who is raising their hand that moment to do this. Usually, not always, but oftentimes isn't like pushing hard content. Otherwise, they probably would push AOTC. In your case, you just didn't have availability in your raid, and we also had a couple other players like that where it's just like, yo, we just didn't have availability to raid this season, but like we want to come. Like this will be fun. And what I want to say though, if you are the player who's like, oh, yeah, I know, I was undergeared this season with my guild when we like did like a push night, or my damage was really low. What I want to encourage you to do is always show up to those events as prepared as you possibly can be, right? Because what's going on in that moment is you are utilizing the resources of your guild, the people of your guild, to go get an achievement that you might struggle or probably would not get at all otherwise, right? Without going with your guild, which is awesome. That is something guilds should offer. I think it's great that our guild does it. Low key, if I had to sit in a meeting right now with our officers and decide if we'll do it again next year, I'd say yes. I'd easily say yes. That is something guilds should offer. Guild members should be happy to support one another, right? That should be the case. If your guild doesn't feel that way, probably not a great guild, right? Like, people should be excited to support each other in your guild. Now, with that said, it also means, though, that if you are using the time of the people in your guild, you always want to show up as prepared as you can possibly be, right? So spend time ahead learning that boss fight. We only did Dimensius. We just skipped right. One of our guys got a skip right to Dimensius, and so we started right on Dimensius. Right, so make sure you go in knowing the ins and outs of that boss fight. You don't have to have done it on Heroic, obviously, but like, try and get in there on LFR, right? I know normal can be weird, but try and get in there on normal if you can. And that brings me to point 2, right? Ever since last tier, actually, it existed in the first tier, but it existed differently. So every tier this expansion, you have had the opportunity to like get power boosts within the raid simply by just doing the raid, right? Yep. And as the weeks go on, I think it gets more generous, correct? On like how much
it does.
reputation or renown you get from it.
Yes.
And so like if you max that out, that's like 15% more damage and healing that you can do in that raid. Now, if like your guild is like, hey, next week we're doing this, 1 week is a lot of time. 1 week is a lot of time to, or not a lot of time, I should say, not a lot of time to try and fit in that much renown farming. But dude, definitely like 1 week from now implies you have one reset, right? So for sure, do it all on LFR both weeks, right? Find time, 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there. Do the whole thing on LFR both weeks, twice, right? Then if you can, at least once, try to get in there and run on the normal group. Maybe 2 weeks run on the normal group. The reason why I say that is because you're being offered a huge support from your guild. And I know you might be like, well, it's hard to find that time. I get it. again, people are offering you their time, right? And that's where it gets like a little tricky, because I think there's a little frustration for me when we were going in there and I was like looking around. I'm like, man, we got some awesome people. And again, let me clarify. I'm not frustrated with people as much as I was a little disappointed in the circumstances, right? And I was like, man, I wish some of these people had just like gone and run the raid on a lower difficulty a couple times just to get that bonus. Because again, our guild isn't like, we're not a cutting edge guild. It's not like we're running Mythic. So the Mencius is our end game boss that we do as a guild.
Yeah.
Right. So like, and we haven't been farming him. So it's not like we haven't fought this guy in months, right? Like in months, we haven't fought him. Maybe like 4 months. We haven't touched this guy. Maybe less, maybe 3. And like, we're going in there and it's like, dude, we can't carry. Like, we just can't carry, right? Like, we have to do this. And I think that's where it's like, hey, you don't have to be perfect at the game. You don't have to be the best player, right? You never, and this applies to whoever's listening and you're in your guilds. You don't have to be the best player, but just show up saying, hey, I want to respect the time. I want to respect the time of the people who are helping me out and doing this, right? And respecting that time means, hey, I'm going to do anything I can prepare. Even if my damage rotation isn't the best, at least I'll have 10% more damage being done because of the buff from doing it on LFR for 2 weeks, right? Like, whenever the case is, right? And so that's just my encouragement there. I say all that to get to the point, though, of like, man, dude, that first hour, the first hour was rough.
It was really rough.
We were in officer chat talking, and like, there was a pretty good shot that we were just going to call it at like, because we started at 9, that at like 10 we were just gonna be like, yeah, that's it, we're done. Like, we're done, that's it. And we just kind of kept pushing, and finally we started making progress. And once we got out of phase 1, everything else was easy. I think it was just a lot of not doing mechanics on phase 1 that hurt a lot of people. And then once we got out of phase 1, phase 2 we kind of blasted, phase 3 we blasted. And so like literally like in officer chat, hey guys, this is the final pool of the night. If we don't get it, I'm gonna call it here. I have a headache, like I just can't keep going, right? And then all of a sudden, boom, it always works that way, right? You call final pool and that happens to be the pool. And so we got Demencius down, everybody was hyped. We didn't have to cut anybody mid raid, because that's always the concern too, right? Like, you show up and you're like, oh crap, like, we literally can't do it if this one player is here, or these 3-4 players are here, right? Luckily, we didn't have to make that call. Everybody really stepped up, really put their A game in. I think our final kill, we made it to phase 3 with everyone alive. And so, like, like at that point, you're like, okay, that's hype. Like, even if your damage output isn't the most incredible, like, you're doing the mechanics. And that's all that can be asked for, right? Like, just do the mechanics. And I was pretty proud of our group. They came through, they crushed it. So I know I was a little critical at the start, but like, dude, they did it. So I'm proud of them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it worked pretty. Yeah, it was definitely interesting. And I don't disagree with anything you said.
Yeah.
I think there comes a point where it isn't a carry. And I think everyone knew that there. For the most part, everyone was kind of like, yeah, like, I understand. And there was definitely people, I think, that were getting frustrated with just generalness of like, okay, like, we can't even make it out of phase 1. Like, what is going on, guys?
Yeah.
And I think there's just like a moment where people were just like, yeah, like, we just gotta, like, everyone's gotta pull it.
Mm-hmm.
And we gotta like give it our all, or else we're just not gonna get this down. And it's hard because like, you see people there and like, again, like, we're just trying to rag on anyone, but like, everyone has damage meters. Everyone knows who was a little bit lacking on some of the...
everyone for sure will have damage meters on Tuesday.
Well, yeah, true. Well, they might not have them on their UI though.
That's true.
Anyways, like, people knew, like, it wasn't like a surprise of like, oh, chicken's the bottom of the damage board, like, e-gasp, like, like, it wasn't like a shock, like, I'm not saying like, oh, it wasn't a shock that you were at the bottom. No, I'm saying like, everyone knew who the stragglers were, right? And you feel bad. I don't want to kick anyone out. Like, I want everyone to get the achievement. So luckily we pulled through and we didn't have to do that. So I was getting really nervous that like, I was like, there's just ugh. I was like, this is just rough.
Yeah, and the moment, by the way, the moment that you I'm trying to find, like, the moment that you do have to make that call of like, look, we actually can't do this with these people in the group. We have to remove them.
It sucks.
It not just sucks for those people, it sucks for everybody, because the morale just goes down. Like, right? It's just like, oh, no. Like, because here's the thing, dude. Our guild, these people love each other. Like, our guild cares so much for each other, right? And so, like, to see your friends, like, not be able to continue on, simply be, like, you just can't do, like, with them, that hurts, right? That hurts. And so we were so excited to just kind of see it through to the end. And I'm sure somebody's listening and they're like, well, why would you ever have to remove somebody? Like, never do that. Like, treat people with respect. There hits a point, though, sometimes where it's like, hey, look, like, right? Like, you have 30 grown adults spending 2 hours, 3 hours on an evening that they set aside, that they had to, come to an agreement with their spouse, right, to have that time, right? Maybe their wife's watching the baby or their husband is taking care of something, right, so that they can have their time to come to that raid, and then they can't do it. They can't get the thing, even though that they just put all this effort in just to be there, right?
Yeah.
Because somebody wasn't, like, showing up ready, right? And that hurts. And again, like, it's one thing to be like, hey, look, like, I really want to be there. I'm not the best player, but, like, I want to put the effort in to show up. That's all. Like, that to me is always my favorite. I think my least favorite is when you get the, like, oh yeah, I really want to be there, but I'm only like 665 eye level right now, but can I just come anyways? I can't just come. I haven't done the raid. I haven't done any dungeons. And you're just like, hey man, I know you really want that achievement. I know you really want the mount with it. But, like, you just had 6 months. Like, you just had 6 months to, like, make any attempt to prepare yourself for that. And I think at that point, it's just more like FOMO, right? At that point, it's just like, oh, crap, I didn't make any attempt to do this, but I really don't want to miss it, and I won't have a chance after this week. Can't you just take me? Can't you just take me, right? At that point, it's like, I'm trying to find, like, a real-world example of that, right? But, like, ultimately what it comes down to is just, like, you just want that last-minute ride. And again, though, sometimes, like, that's what guilds are for, right? Like, having that community, having those friends who are going to drag you to things, right? Like, dude, I had friends that helped me out in keys that are probably higher than I should have gotten into. I think I did pretty good in them. Actually, I think I held my own, which I'm pretty proud of. I felt like I actually earned my spot there. Yeah, but friends help friends out, right? Friends give friends opportunities, and that's the goal. But you just want to make sure that when they do that, you don't take advantage of it. You want it to feel like, we're both here for each other.
Yeah, and there's definitely moments that it was like, oh, like, this is, like, hard. Like, this is hard to be in. But I think overall, once we hit that point of just like, okay, we just need to like regroup and see what happens. And when we came back, it worked. So I hey, we got it. That's all that matters, right?
Dude,
like,
oh my gosh, absolutely. I think I just liked the conversation, because I feel like it's a relatable conversation for people of just like, hey, how do you handle that, right? And especially, I think we have a lot of listeners who maybe aren't playing at like the top high-end edges of Warcraft, right? And they're just going like, and they're probably nervous. They're probably like, dude, my guild does something like this, and I'm way too scared to ask to be a part of it, right? Like, if that's you, if you're like, dude, I'm too scared to be a part of it, I don't want to cause the problems that you guys are talking about. I don't want to show up and be a weight for them. I don't want to cause any difficulty. Here's the thing. It's up to you to decide, do you or do you not want that thing, right? And one of the metrics of knowing if you want something or don't want something is if you're willing to do the work for it, right? That's kind of like, dude, I love guitars. This is a terrible example. I love guitars. There are some guitars out there that are so freaking cool to me. And like, if I would love to, I would really like to have them, right? But I would never pay the money for them. And I would never be like, yo, let me pick up a part-time job and work this job for 3 months, like 3 months to save the money to buy that guitar, right? Just not. Now there have been some guitars that I did feel that way towards, and I own those guitars now, right?
Yeah.
And so you kind of just like, in WoW terms, right? There's housing furniture I think is really cool, but I'm never going to put the work in to get that housing furniture, right? Like, I would like to have it, but I can't. And what you need to decide is, like, when you look at that that reward, the title or the whatever, stop and think, okay, it's not about your skill, by the way. We're not having a skill conversation here because we're assuming that you have a group of friends in the guild who want to help you out, right? So it's not really a skill combo. It's more of a preparation conversation, which, by the way, I think helps improve skill. But, right, are you willing to go learn those fights in LFR? Are you willing to build up that renown, even doing normal raid, right? Are you willing to go push some dungeons to challenge yourself in gameplay and to make sure you're gearing your character up so that maybe your eye level can offset your understanding of your damage rotation, right? Like all those kind of things, right? All those pieces come together to kind of balance out. And that, like, dude, 9 times out of 10, that's what I want, right? Like, sure, it's, like, would I want the perfect situation where the whole group is perfect in every way? Sure, but, that's not fun in the same way. Right? Like, I want a situation where it's us banding together and, like, supporting our guild and doing things. And so if that is you, you're like, man, next season, I really want AOTC, but raiding terrifies me. But my guild does do something like that. I know this is hyper-specific, right? But let's say end of next season. You're a month out and your guild's like, yo, we're going to do one more raid to try and get AOTC. Who wants to show up to that raid? Right? Those are the things that you should do to prepare. Don't just be like, the eye level minimum is this. I'll just hit the minimum and show up. No, right? Go above and beyond. Bring your best. And your best means preparation, right? Like, go learn those fights. Build up that renown so you get to do a little extra damage, like a 10% boost, 15% boost. And just show up knowing those fights, knowing how to do it. And I say all that to say, though, is like, dude, our guild crushed it. It was a little scary first, but they crushed really it. Good. I don't know why I ranted on that for so long. I apologize. I probably sound super elitist right now. I was trying to phrase it in a way that people know that my heart is for them, right? But, I always worry because anytime I'm, like, critical on something, we'll get a comment on, like, Spotify or something. It's like, Swag, you're too elitist. All you do is talk about elitist things. And, like, I feel like this is a very mid-tier like difficulty podcast.
No, I think you're pretty accurate with everything you said. It's hard. Like I said, you really want people to enjoy it and get things, but at the same time, what is that? Like, how much are you willing to give? Like, if we would have went both nights and we didn't get it, like, that would have felt bad. Like, that would have felt like awful. Like, not even just bad. Like, that would have felt like awful. Like, that would have left like a pit in my stomach. Like, oh, like, that just feels so bad.
Yo, honest answer, by the way, this is between you and I and everybody listening to the podcast. When we originally posted it, the assumption was that we were going to start from the beginning of raid, so we needed the 2 nights. When we just made the call to just push Dimensius only, halfway through that raid night, I was like, look, if we don't kill Dimensius tonight, I'm not coming back tomorrow. Right?
Dang.
Like, now, if we were, like, constantly pushing phase 3 and barely doing it, maybe I would have shown up. If I'm like, oh, it's just going to take 30 minutes, sure. But again, I was about to head out for a whole weekend, and I was like, yo, I am not. Like, the last thing I'm doing is going to spend 2.5 hours on Wednesday night not being able to kill a boss, and then do the same thing Thursday night while my wife really wants to just spend some time with me before I'm away for a whole weekend.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't blame you.
So I was like, I know if we don't do this, I can't come back. And, like, justifiably, right? Like, it's not like I was being rude, like, oh, everybody sucks. It was just like, dude, I can't justify that. If it was like, hey, we're doing the whole thing, I can kind of justify it. If it's like, yo, we're stuck on one boss because, like, people don't have the 15% damage boost and healing boost, that's a different thing. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why I felt extra sensitive to it, because I knew what I was sacrificing to be there, which is, again, time with my wife before leaving for a weekend.
Yeah, I was like the same way, because I was like, oh man, like, I was really kind of looking forward to doing like the whole raid. But then after Wednesday, I was like, oh, I'm so glad we didn't do the whole raid. Like I literally, like, that thought literally crossed my head of like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad we didn't do that whole raid.
Yeah.
Like that would have been like not terrible, but it would have been hard.
All right, chicken. We're going to change topics now because we're half an hour into the podcast. And we have stuff that we have to talk about, right?
I have one last thing that I want to talk about.
Talk about it, dude.
Like,
go for
it. It's okay because this will be a long conversation. And it doesn't have to happen right now. But at some point, like...
Can you give us like a taster of it that we can come back to next week?
It's about like the DK raid buff.
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about that.
Because like it totally applies to this raid, and like I just have a lot of thoughts about it right now. And
yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about it, we can. I was going to talk about pre-patch stuff, but like...
No, let's talk about pre-patch. First of all, there is one other thing I wanted to say, because I sent it in our Discord, and I just said, I said all caps, dude, big podcast topic, lust. And you did not respond to that for a second, and I thought you might be like, what does this even mean?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. Yeah,
so I was kind of like, oh, maybe he doesn't care. But, yeah, dude, some guy literally... So I joined a Pug 13.
Yeah.
And I joined it, and I was literally like a second away from leaving. Like a second away from leaving, like right as I joined it. Because there was no lust. And I was like, this is a 13 and we don't have a lust. And luckily some guy, one of the DPS was like, you're right. Good luck, guys. And he just left. And then the group leader was like, he's like, well, in my opinion, he's like, better group, or like good group is better than lust. And I was like, you're wrong.
Wouldn't a good group have lust though?
well,
or was he just like, yo, this group has the highest eye level of players that we're like queuing for?
I don't know.
Okay, but I mean,
dude,
but
to me that was the hottest take.
There is the question too of like, well, theoretically, if you have a bunch of players who are doing more damage across the board through the whole dungeon than simply what you get for the short lust period that you have, then yeah, you do more damage. The problem though is what lust is for isn't for speeding up the entire dungeon. Lust is for those like clutch, difficult moments that you need to like
that
really
save time technically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also probably save a wipe.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. Like most of them do. Dude, it was like I was like, this is the hottest take ever, but I just had to like bring it up. Anyways.
Perfect. Actually, before we get to pre-patch, because I dropped a couple things. Who knows? Maybe we'll get to pre-patch. We're probably not gonna get to listener questions. We'll see. Let's not worry about it till we get there. Let's not worry about it till we get there. All right. Anyways, so Blizzard announced a new M+ affix, by the way, for Midnight. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, it's right underneath the. Oh
no, but do you know what the affix is? But do you know what the affix is?
Are you memeing? Yeah, I read up on it. I was like, are you just memeing? Like this is literally on our show notes, brother. Oh. It's literally right underneath the thing that you're highlighting.
Do you think I've ever looked at our show notes?
Yeah, I think you have actually.
Oh, see, you wrote it based on the name of the affix. I just call it,
and you're just like, I don't even know what that is.
I just call it the beginner tank. It's the beginner tank affix, which is 100% what it is, right? The purpose of it. So, for those who don't know, how the new affix coming to M+ is going to work in Midnight is for keys level 2 through 5. There are going to be enemies who are marked. And those enemies marked are actually going to have, like, I think lower health points or something. I believe it's health points that they're going to have. Reduced health points. And if you go and just kill those enemies, you'll have % at the end of the dungeon. So the point is that they're trying to give you a path through the dungeon that they suggest. What's also kind of cool about that is they don't have to give you the optimal path because they're making those enemies easier. Right? Yep. So, like, it's not like they're like, oh, hey, here's the best path through the dungeon. They're just saying, hey, this is the best path through the dungeon for a +3 because we actually artificially made these enemies easier to kill than the others. So it gives me two thoughts. One, I think it will be good for tanks who are too nervous to start, right? Because that's really it. If you can start in low keys, it's easy to push your way up, but that start is where it's difficult. So the idea is to incentivize tanks like, hey, guys, you don't have to be the team captain in this, like, +2, right? Like, you can just follow the little orbs or whatever it is that are over top of the enemy's heads, which I think will be really good. I'm hoping that... I think Blizzard's trying really hard to incentivize tanking. we've talked about it plenty on the past, how you get more tanks. This was not an option that we had come up with ourselves, but I like it, right? Because ultimately we said one of the difficulties of tanking that you can't do anything about is that tanks kind of become the party lead, and they're the ones who are expected to set pace and direction. But this affix kind of takes that pressure off of them. And so that's not a bad idea.
Does.
That's not a bad idea. What it does worry me about, though, is that moment you step into like a +6 dungeon, and all of a sudden you're getting blasted because you're using the same rotation or the same route that you were doing in 1 through 5, because you've memorized that route from doing 1 through 5. And now some like random mage in your group is like going giga crazy because his favorite mage, whatever his favorite mage is, does a different route so he can do more AoE damage and uses cooldowns better, right? Like that's the negative. Like, but again, that's not a Blizzard problem. That's a player problem, right? Like, that's players creating issues for the game, not Blizzard creating issues for the game. So I'm excited to see how it'll work out. I think it'll actually be really fun for new tanks who want to start trying things out and getting into tanking, and especially dungeons, right? Because dungeons can be intimidating, and so it'll be really fun.
Yeah, I think it's good. I do agree. It feels a little bit handholdy, like just a little bit.
Yeah.
Not like crazy handholdy. It's not like, it's not like one button. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But like it does feel a little handholdy.
What's interesting though is it's hand holding a responsibility for tanks that no one else in the dungeon has besides tanks.
Yes, and I think that's what makes it like okay, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like I think at the end of the day, that's what makes it like, oh, this is fine. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if it was more like a general thing, then I think I would be a little more upset about it.
Yeah.
Where I'd be like, oh, this is like so handholdy, like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But I think it's more along the lines of, hey, this is gonna help you, and it will.
Yeah. Also, it means that Blizzard doesn't have to. It means that Blizzard doesn't have to rely solely on linear dungeons, right? So, like the Stone Vaults of the world, right? Like, and I think that's one thing is a lot of tanks who are learning.
That's true.
Much prefer linear dungeons because you're not trying to make the choice, right? You're just like, oh, I have to go down this hallway, and we can't really skip anybody in the hallway except maybe that one pack over there, right? Like, it makes it so much easier. Like, I just go kill everything in the dungeon, and we're good to go. And that's not super intimidating. It becomes intimidating when you go in, and it's like, yo, you're now in Floodgate, and there's just mobs everywhere. Have fun, right? Like, I remember the first time I tanked Floodgate, and I was like, yo, I should have definitely looked. Because I walked in there like, I probably don't need a route. I can just, whatever. Like, I've tanked enough, right? And again, I'm like, frick, dude, where the heck am I going? And I like quickly like pulled up a route as fast as I could to like try and follow it. And I think what this does is it allows Blizzard to maybe make some more open world dungeons, right? That like add more flexibility and don't have to be super linear, which will be really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a great concept. So I'm hoping that it's like, yeah, we can just let people, Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and even to the hand-holdy part, right? Like, it's fascinating because if you're like, hey, what does a tank do, right? Like, or like, what does a DPS do, right? DPS, their goal is to do as much damage as they possibly can, right, in the dungeon, right?
Yes.
What's a healer's job? A healer's to keep everybody alive, keep them healed. What's a tank's job? A tank's job is to hold the attention of enemies and like block, like, and protect the rest of the group, right? Take all the damage. Cool.
Yeah, it's like, how do you do that,
right?
Like,
and in this case, everybody's doing those roles, right? None of those responsibilities are taken away. The only responsibility that's taken away, which is not really explicitly given to tanks, it's just expected of tanks by players, is to like set the direction of the dungeon. And in an in the normal dungeons, like whatever, who cares, right? Like who cares? In an M+, it matters because you have percentages. And so all of a sudden now it's like, oh, actually I have to come in here and already know the math that I need to do in order to time this dungeon, right? And that adds a little bit of extra weight onto tanks that almost feels unfair. Like it feels unfair that they have to do that, no one else does. And so I think this at least allows tanks to kind of get their feet wet and feel comfortable. And then obviously if you want to push above that 5, maybe go look at some routes and see what happens.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, it's like I don't know if anyone was asking for it, but I'm okay that they did it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't think it hurts.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think anybody was asking for it directly, but people are definitely asking for more tanks, right? And so
Oh
hopefully
yeah,
this helps.
everyone's asking for more
Yeah.
tanks. Oh my
Now, is this
gosh.
gonna fix the tank shortage at the highest end of keys? Probably not.
No.
But like in the low to medium range, right? That 2 to 12 range, actually, you'll probably see a good influx of tanks. Maybe not crazy influx, but maybe a few more.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how that one works out, to be honest.
Yeah. So the other thing I want to mention before we talk about pre-patch stuff is we had gotten a not that we had gotten, but leaked on Twitter was a survey going out through Battle.net, and Blizzard's always putting surveys out. We talked about a survey a while back about like new classes coming out, and so always take these surveys with a grain of salt. These surveys do not mean Blizzard's going to do anything. I think these surveys are just so that Blizzard can internally have information that if they ever do choose to act on something, they at least have some idea of what they're acting on. I will also mention that these surveys hardly ever look the same. So, like, take that with a grain of salt, too. Like, they may be legit, they may not be legit. It is what it is. But this survey specifically going out right now that, or at least we're told, is going out. Maybe you've seen it on BNet, maybe you haven't. Is a survey asking about new specializations. Similar to how Devourer was added to Demon Hunter. What if they added new specializations to other classes, right? So, like, a support-based priest, probably something like in the same vein as, like, Aug Evoker, a ranged DPS monk. I would particularly be excited about a tank shaman, which is on there. I used to shaman tank a bit, like vanilla BC era. I miss it, to be honest. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Oh my gosh.
Like support paladin, tank warlock, just kind of like throwing some things on there, see what sticks, see what people would potentially be interested in. Again, might be legit, might not be legit, but it is cool to think about. My critical side would say that like Blizzard probably wants most classes to have 3 specs. That's probably the easiest to balance. And Demon Hunter has been short a spec for a long time, and it felt right in this expansion. With that said, though, Blizzard could also be stepping back from having done the augmentation Evoker thing, which I would argue Aug was probably planned from the very start of Evoker and just released later for fun. Or so that they could finish development on it. That's probably what it was. They probably had to finish developing things. But Devastation Evoker for sure was a brand new, had not been planned before spec. And maybe Blizzard's saying, hey, look, it could be cool if we need to add more to the game rather than building out entire new classes. Because, again, we are getting a little class bloated right now. Like, we are starting to get a little bloated on classes, which not a bad thing. I will always take more things to play and do in WoW, but it becomes exceptionally difficult to balance, right? It makes it very difficult to balance. So do specializations slow that down? Does that mean Blizzard goes, we're going to create 3 new specs for this expansion, but they're not all going to be for one class, right? It'll be like, oh, we'll add tank shaman, and then we'll add a support priest and a support paladin, right? And then that's it. Like, they're just like, hey, we added 3 specs. It's not a class. It's just 3 new specs.
Yeah, that doesn't feel bad. It's weird because, like, when I see a survey like this, like, honestly, it to me is like, why, like this almost seems fake. And the reason why I think it seems fake, but it probably isn't, because this is probably what, like, legitimately Blizzard thinks. Like, when I see a survey like this, and, you went through a lot of them, tank rogue, tank shaman, ranged, monk, support paladin, blah, 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 ranged death knight, healer mage. Like, when I see that, I like, unless this is like, oh, you can only pick one, I'm like, who in their right mind would not want any of these? Like, I'm like, let's add them all.
I guess the question is, like, they can only work on so many at a time, right? So which one would come first, right? Yeah.
So like I do agree in that aspect, like where it's like, yeah, I guess if people show like a lot of people want like a tank warlock, so they're like, oh, let's do that then real quick. But like I still think it's just funny when you have a survey like this and it's like, oh, which of these specs do you think would be great to bring the game? And then they're just like, just all of them. Just clicks all.
Dude, I personally though, I would love to see Shaman tanks come back, but
I know
that's a me thing. That's a me problem, dude. Dude, if Shaman tanks come back, that'd be probably one of the first times in a long time I multi-spec'd one character.
Dude, do it, brother. Multi-specking characters is the best.
I usually just make a new one every time. I'm like, this one's
I know,
my healer,
which is
and
nuts.
this one's my
like,
tank.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's nuts. Why?
I don't know. It's more fun for me. Gives me more vault loot, you know?
Oh my gosh, get out of town.
Every week I can get a healer item and a tank item.
Get out of town.
All right, speaking of getting out of town, we are going to be getting out of the final season of The War Within.
Oh my gosh, what a segue. What a segue.
Dude, I'm actually like wicked good at segues. Maybe now that we're like 74, 73 episodes into the Warband, maybe now I start flexing those awesome segue muscles and just have the most wild segues into each segment. We don't really have like crazy segments. Maybe we should segment our podcast more.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay. Anyways, all right.
Maybe. No.
Away from talking about segments and onto a segue about the War Within, there are some pretty cool pre-patch things happening. When you listen to this on Monday, tomorrow. If you're listening to this on Tuesday, today. If you're listening this past Tuesday, why are you taking so long to listen to these beautiful voices? Now, pre-patch comes out on Tuesday, and there's a lot that's going to be happening. Just a quick, brief run through, and then we'll kind of dive into them a little bit. New class talent tree updates, hero talent roads being added, obviously UI updates and improvement. The Devour Demon Hunters coming out. You get a new class race combo with Void Elf Demon Hunters. There's going to be a stat squish. Transmog updates, housing, charter neighborhoods become available, endeavors begin, pre-patch event, Twilight Ascension will start. So we can kind of dissect some of those. Maybe we'll hit all of them, maybe we won't, but we'll see what we have time for. But there's obviously the new specialization, Devour Demon Hunters are coming out. Chicken, are you planning on playing one?
No, no, not even a little bit. I started leveling a Demon Hunter in Remix, and then I gave up. So I was like, eh. To be honest, I have a character boost. If I really want to, I might use it on that, but I think I'm gonna save it. So no, I don't have a huge interest in playing the new Demon Hunter spec, to be honest.
Dude, they look good. I played one on Alpha.
It looks interesting, yeah.
So when I played it was like a while ago, right? And so it definitely was far from done. But it was fun. It's supposed to be a little bit of a mix and range, and it looks cool. I'm interested to see how it plays out. Again, though, you know, it's a DPS, and so DPS isn't usually my go-to. But I will say, aesthetically, it's a vibe. It's actually
it looks cool.
It is a beautiful, like their moveset's beautiful. Demon Hunters have always been known kind of for like their bright green, flashy attacks, and now you have these like flashy, purpley, voidy attacks going on. It is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Along with that, we're also getting obviously the Void Elf Demon Hunters.
That's good.
Can I be honest? I'm like a little mixed on it. Oh,
okay. I mean, I thought it was always, well, I mean, lore wise, like it makes sense why you can only play like the two races right now, but like to me, that's one of the reasons why I don't want to play Demon Hunter. I'm like, it's really race limited. Like it's not that I don't like but
gnomes aren't available yet, so that makes it hard.
Yeah, that's exactly the reason why. No, it's just I'm not a huge fan of like the Night Elf or the other one. Yeah.
I think what's tough. Well, I guess Void Elves aren't really a huge exchange from Blood Elf, are they?
No, they're not.
No,
to be honest,
I think
it's just like the character model. Yeah. I don't really like it, to be honest.
That makes sense. I think what's also tough too is that it feels half done to me. If that makes sense, like I'm fine with it. Like obviously, canonically, Void Elves are not traditional Demon Hunters, right? Like there's not a canonical Void Elf. Vengeance Demon Hunter around. Maybe the Blizzard will add it later, but canonically it's not happening because the process to become a Demon Hunter is, in the traditional sense, is like a wildly painful process and absolutely crazy. And the only reason why people even did it was because Illidan kind of wise talked them into it, but also because their families had been destroyed by demons as a whole thing. And the Void Elves are kind of just taking the next step and using Void to do that same thing. And they've already kind of gone down that path. So it makes sense. However, just like other races that have something similar to this, gameplay-wise, that just means that you can play any Void Elf or any Demon Hunter spec as a Void Elf, which is totally fine. I'm okay with that. That doesn't bother me. That's been the norm in WoW for a long time. Undead priests, for example, right? Vast majority of undead priests are shadow priests, but players can play holy. I think there's like one or two in lore that are holy priests, but they're also canonically always hurting themselves when they use abilities. Or for example, Void Elf priests, right? Canonically probably are not holy priests. They wouldn't be using Holy Light as a void creature. They're technically like shadow priests, but they can use holy magic because they can play the class. So it works out. So I don't have an issue with that. That's what I'm fine with. What bothers me though is actually some of the design elements. So at this point, there really aren't void runes that you can put onto the character, right? The tattoos, it's more still fell tattoos. The eye glow that Demon Hunters have, I really think that eye glow should be dependent upon what spec you are. And I think if you're a Void Elf Demon Hunter, not a Void Elf, if you're a Devourer Demon Hunter, I think your eye should glow blue. They still glow green currently. So there's a couple details that just feel like it's half done, if that makes sense. It just doesn't feel like they finished it. And hopefully by midnight they finish it, but those seem like pretty small things, and so if they're not done now, I just assume they're never going to be done.
Yeah, like it's just it was missed or something.
Yeah,
like or they just don't care.
They must not care because players have been complaining about it
malicious
since,
way, but
players have been bringing it up since alpha. Anyways, there's a midnight pre-patch event that will start. The pre-patch events are cool. They're not usually crazy. I'm hoping this one will impress me, but honestly, usually pre-patches are like events are kind of meh to me. It's usually like rares that spawn on a cycle. This one kind of much of the same. You can be going to Twilight Highlands to thwart off the Twilight's Blade. This time like a Xalatath wing of the Twilight Cult, right? So we've seen the Twilight Cult plenty of times before. Now they're kind of following Xalatath around. There's going to be like rares that spawn and some other things that you can do in that area. I believe there's a few pieces of housing decor, though. So, like, that's pretty sick. And some mounts. So there'll be 3 pieces of housing decor, 2 mounts, 3 battle pets, and a Twilight's Blade-themed weapon. Or multiple Twilight's Blade-themed weapons, I guess you can get, which will be pretty cool. And catch-up gear. As you know, always some good catch-up gear. It'll be item level 121. So depending on what your eye level is, you'll be able to get eye level 121 catch-up gear. And you're probably thinking, swag. Who on earth is going to need eye level 121 gear as catch-up gear at the end of midnight, dude? The questing gear, your level 70 questing gear in the War Within is better than that. Let me explain. That's because we're going to be getting a stat squish going into midnight pre-patch. So stats have just been getting too high. Numbers are getting too big. And the problem with big numbers is it's just hard to track. It's hard to like understand what you're actually doing when you see those big numbers popping up. Now, is 675 eye level a big number? No. But the damage numbers that come out, the health numbers that come out, those become kind of exuberantly big. So we're seeing a major stat squish going on right now. So for example, right now in WoW, if you had a 730 Mythic 8 out of 8 piece of gear, right? So that's 730 eye level, Mythic 8 out of 8. When pre-patch hits, still going to be Mythic 8 out of 8, but now it's going to be eye level 170. Right, so from 730 all the way down to 170. Now you'll be like, now you're like, oh, okay, maybe that 121, 1 out of 8 champion gear. That makes sense. That's a little bit more in line, which will be really good. So if you find yourself doing lower numbers at the target dummy after pre-patch, that's why, amongst other reasons. But that is the main reason why you'll be doing. You'll see smaller numbers popping up. If you don't have a damage meter, if you're like, swag, I don't have a damage meter to see those small numbers. What do? Easy. You're going to have one because pre-patch comes with a damage meter and other UI updates and changes, including the beloved or dreaded, either or, add-on update, right? So most of our combat add-ons are no longer going to be in operation or useful. You'll want to take a look at the add-ons that you have. It's probably a really good time to actually go through your add-on list on CurseForge and start deleting the ones that aren't going to be continued in.
Oh, that's true. Within. Yeah.
Start to clean up some of those Lua codes going on in the background and all that other jazz. So kind of keep that in mind. But you will be getting a cooldown manager, raid frames, friendly. Raid plays have been updated. Boss timers and some other cool stuff. So you're gonna have some pretty cool things happening. Just kind of keep an eye out though for those UI changes. But what I like to change the most actually are my outfits. And transmog is going to be changing as well. And so with the pre-patch, and I'm kind of speeding through these. I'm not even giving Chicken time to talk about. Sorry, Chicken. I've been so proud of these little segues that I got carried away, and I want to apologize for that. You're my best friend, and I have failed you, dude. I have failed you big time. Anyways, I'll just talk about this, and we'll slow the pace down a little bit. But there are transmog changes in Midnight Prepatch. I've heard a lot of people kind of have differing information on what that's going to be, so I want to kind of set everybody straight on what's actually going to be happening. So as transmog is right now, right? You can transmog your gear currently, not the update, right now, and you can set a bunch of different like presets, right? You have like your little drop down, and you're like, oh, here are my like 15 different presets I like, right? Those will still be available, from what I understand. Those will still exist. However, there's a new thing coming in called sets that you're going to have, right? And those you have to pay gold in order to unlock more sets. Right, it's different than the little presets you had before. These are sets that you design, and then at any point you want to, you can just swap into them. You'll do a little animation, swap into them. You can even set those sets so that they will automatically change every time you mount up, or when you walk into your player housing, or when you're in a dungeon. Like cool. You can set them under like certain like situations to change automatically. And those, once you have created the transmog and locked it in, it does not then cost you gold to be switching between the sets. So like, you're probably not going to need, like, they get increasingly more expensive the more sets you buy, right? You're probably not going to actually need that many. You're going to see a huge list that's like 3 million gold or something to unlock them all. I promise you, you're not, right? Because like worst case scenario, you just do it the old fashioned way if you really have to, right? You just hop on your transmog account, right? Manually switch it, pay the 200, 300, whatever, 8,000 gold, and make the switch, right? So I'm really excited. It's going to be super convenient. There's a little bit of a gold sink to it, but ultimately the convenience of it is going to be wonderful.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
Yeah. Speaking of Chicken agreeing with things, he definitely agrees with Blizzard's choice to bring Slappy Hands back in pre-patch. That's right. In pre-patch, you're going to see some class changes, so expect your talents to be a little different. Pretty much everybody has changes.
Literally, yeah.
They're trying to go for more simplicity and rotation. Some classes maybe are pulling that off better than other classes are doing, but take some time, look at your talents when you log in, and kind of get familiar. Again, pre-patch is kind of an iffy time, so like if you were running 15s before in dungeons, maybe bump it down to some 12s and start pushing back up, right? Like, or if you run 10s, push it down to 8s and work your way back up. It's going to feel a little different. Everybody's going to be playing a little different. Your add-ons aren't going to be working the same. Your moves aren't going to be working the same. Your talents aren't going to be working the same. So take some time. Get comfortable. Get used to it. The nice thing is you have time to get comfortable now before Midnight comes out. So you can be nice and ready when all the questing happens, when the dungeons open up, all that fun stuff. Now. Here's the big thing I need to talk about. My wife's on the couch behind me. hopefully she's listening to what I'm saying right now on this recording. If she's not, well, shame on her. At least you, our listeners, are listening at the moment, because we have a few really awesome housing updates coming in Midnight. I just say a little extra loud so she hear. Right. So we have a few awesome housing updates coming Midnight. One of which, the Elven housing exteriors will be introduced in Prepatch, right? So on Tuesday, you will be able to choose between a Night Elf house if you are in an Alliance neighborhood, or a Silvermoon inspired house if you are in the Horde neighborhood. Additional Elven exteriors and stuff. Players will be able to upgrade their houses at level 9 with medium-sized exteriors unlocking at level 8. So I'm trying to read that right now, but basically you can get more sizing for your house externally by leveling up your player housing. You're probably thinking, well, swag, leveling player housing is really difficult, and I don't have the gold to keep going out and buying new items off the auction house just to level up. Totally fine. Totally get it. But we're going to be having Endeavors start on Tuesday. Endeavors are going to be special neighborhood events where you and your neighbors kind of join together to complete tasks. And some of them kind of change the visuals of the neighborhood or gain access to like different decors and things like that. They're really, really cool, and they're kind of like kind of what you would do like a world event, right? It's kind of like a world event, but in your neighborhood that you interact with. And you can actually get a good amount of XP from that. That's going to be your main way of leveling up your houses. So if you feel like you've been stuck, like me, at like a level 3 house, you can finally start leveling up your houses even further. And of course, maybe even use some of those bigger sized Elven houses that are going to become available. Also, along with that, worth noting, charter neighborhoods are going to become available. So a charter neighborhood is very similar to the guild neighborhood, where it's kind of like you and your friends hanging out. However, the difference is for the charter neighborhood, that is people all signing on to the charter together to create the neighborhood. Chicken and I will be starting a charter neighborhood for the Warband podcast. So we will keep details about that available on our Discord when it happens. But if you're like, dude, we want to hang out in a Warband neighborhood, we'll find a way. Now, it's possible, I don't totally understand the charter system, that won't work. But I'm really hoping that does actually give us the ability to, and I think it should, create a neighborhood for the Warband, which would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be.
That will have to be a Horde side neighborhood though, because I'm not. Listen, I got prime real estate on the first phase of our guild's neighborhood, so the Warband one is gonna have to be on the Horde side. Just saying. Yeah. My wife just texted me. She's very excited. Her birthday's on Tuesday, and it feels like she's getting a birthday gift of housing, which is awesome. Awesome. Oh, actually, speaking of which, random side topic real quick. Chicken. Dude, did you move into the main neighborhood?
No, I didn't.
Oh my gosh. So chat, I want to let you all know in on a special opportunity. A special opportunity. And we're going to talk more about it at the end of the podcast, so I'm just going to preface it now. But our guild has 2 neighborhoods. We have 2, right? Because we have so many players that we can't fit them all in one. Basically how it works is you have like the first phase, which is I think all packed out with players, and then you have the second phase, which is like half full or something. Chicken is in the second one. I call that the slums. That is the slums of our... My guildmaster's going to kill me for saying that. But anyways...
Nope, that's what I call it too. The ghetto, baby.
Anyways, if you want the opportunity to build your house in World of Warcraft in the same neighborhood as your favorite podcaster, Chicken, stay tuned towards the end of the episode, and we'll talk about that.
Dude, it's... Come on. It's so open. Prime real estate. Whew.
All right.
1,000 gold for a plot. Whew, you can't beat those prices.
Speaking of staying tuned to the end of the episode, we are almost at the end of the episode. Listener questions will be coming up in just a moment. However, as always, we just want to talk about a couple things that matter to our podcast. Number 1, do you want to have your house next to Chicken in World of Warcraft?
Oh my gosh.
Well, guess what? You can. That's right. Our guild, Astra, one of the best guilds, not one of the best guild in all of Azeroth. Guarantee 10 out of 10. It won best guild of the year every year, rated by me. And it's wonderful. A wonderful community of players who are so kind and encouraging to one another, supportive of one another. Just helping out. It's not toxic. It is so just fun. We have people who love pushing high keys, but we also have a lot of players who just want to find a place that they can call home and feel comfortable and hang out. And it's very social. So if you're looking for a place to come hang out with us in Astra. There's going to be a link in the description to mine and Chicken's Discord. Pop in there and check out the Join Astra channel if you are interested in joining the guild. Just a quick disclaimer. The guild is not run by us. I am an officer in the guild, but it's not... A little bit. I am an officer, but the guild is...
Yeah, maybe a little bit. You're right.
It's not necessarily a guild for the podcast as much as it is a guild that the hosts of the podcast love being a part of, and we want to extend that to you as well for anyone who is interested in being part of the guild with us. And also right now, while there's still room available, you could build a house in the same neighborhood as Chicken. So wouldn't that be something? Or you could I guess you could also just join the charter neighborhood that we're gonna make.
That's true.
That works too. Yeah. That's the incentive is a little bit lower now, but whatever. Anyways, I also want to give a thanks to Zygor, which is an amazing add-on for tracking quests, gold making, and really anything else that you might need a guide for within World of Warcraft. It's a wonderful add-on. There's a link in the description. It is an affiliate link, so that helps us out when you use that link to buy a Zygor subscription. But of course, you can also use code SWAGLOCK for 20% off. So if that's something you're interested in, feel free to check that link out for more information. It's a wonderful tool. I will use it quite frequently, especially when I'm going back into like classic content. I'll use it a lot then. Just helps. Otherwise, I can get really distracted in classic and take forever to do anything. Lastly, in our little bits of thank yous, the biggest thank you of them all, going out to our Patreon. I just want to thank our Patreon listeners. Y'all are amazing. I know Chicken and I are busy. If I'm being honest right up front, our Patreon, as much as we want to keep it as up to date with bonus content and everything, it's a little difficult. And yet you guys continue to support us. You continue to support the podcast. Our podcast is paid for by the Patreon. You guys make this happen. Literally, the money coming in the Patreon is what we use to pay off the hosting fees and everything that we use for the podcast. And couldn't be here without y'all. That's as honest as it gets. We couldn't be here without all of you. And our Patreon listeners, we appreciate you so much. And of course, just put out there, our Patreon subscribers do get first dibs on questions on the podcast. So, if you like sending your questions in, not a bad deal. Not a bad deal to use the Patreon bump.
Nope, it isn't.
All right. With that said, I think it is time. I think it's time for some listener questions. Are you ready, Chicken?
I'm ready. Dude, ready as I could be.
All right. We just talked about a lot of stuff with Prepatch, but we have a question. Actually, do we have it in our show notes? Oh, perfect. I pulled up on Discord, but Discord puts me in streamer mode when I'm recording, and then I actually can't track whose name is whose.
Oh, my gosh.
And it throws me off every time. All right. Anyways, we have a question coming in from Tiger Ace Ray, and he said, what class respect do you think has changed for the better, and the worst, which class respect do you think has changed for the better and the worst going into Midnight, and with all the efforts to simplify the game?
Ooh, probably. It's kind of sad. Mage. Anytime they change Mage is good. Nah, dude, Mage is such a hard class.
Yep.
To be honest, I didn't really focus too much on the changes. I know the DK changes that they made, and like some of them are good and some of them are okay. So I think they've done a good job at simplifying the overall aesthetic of the game. I'm just it's just, it's a change. It's going to be a change, and I think it'll be, some people will love it. And I might be some of those people, but some people are also probably going to be like, it sucks. And you're going to be like, yep, well, is what it is.
All right. So a couple thoughts. One, for the better, right? Obviously, mage. I was gonna say mage before Chicken even said mage, just so everybody knows. I was gonna say it first. I didn't.
Were you actually?
Yeah. I was gonna say mage. Again, mage is one that comes to mind because mage is a great example of classes that you just need so much calculation for, right?
Yeah,
and if add-ons have to do some of the work of playing that class for you, that class needs to be simplified. Like that's the reality of it, right? The great example is always with like Brewmaster monks, where they literally have like stacks of stuff that you can't track because it doesn't show up anywhere, right? Like it maybe it shows up as like a tiny little icon in your list of 30 icons in the top right corner with your buffs. I don't think it does though, and if it does, it doesn't really give you a good example of like what that means. And so you have to use like a weak aura to track it properly. Like that kind of stuff needs to go. Like that doesn't really have a healthy place in WoW. And so the simplify, especially right, like with the add-on change, the simplify is good. I also think Blood DK has some nice changes coming to it. Slappy Hands is coming back. I mean, it's not quite as strong as it once was, but it'll be back. So I'm happy for that. Damage output looks good. I'm actually very excited to go back to my Blood DK in Midnight. It'll still be rough at like high keys. It'll be rough in high keys, but I don't really push high enough for maybe that to matter. Hopefully, maybe not. Maybe it'll be a good thing if it does matter to me, because maybe I'll be pushing harder. But for the worst, Shaman, Resto Shaman got like hard gutted, and I don't think I've seen much to say that they've walked that back too far. As a Resto Shaman player, it already felt like there wasn't a whole ton I was using spells for anyways this season, so I'm nervous to see like that change. I could be wrong though. It could end up being awesome. It could be crappy for half a season, and then they throw a hotfix in there halfway through in the 0.5, and now it rocks. We'll find out. But I was really enjoying Shaman a lot this season, so I think that's probably why it's on my mind, because I was having fun doing it, and now maybe not so much.
Yeah. No, I mean, it makes sense. Like I remember when they like completely gutted Unholy DK. I was so upset. Like I was like, no, like don't do this. And then it turns out it was for the best. But for like a hot minute, you're always like, oh man, like this kind of sucks. Like, so yeah, I can understand why you're a little hesitant of like, oh no, like this is either really good or really bad. Overall, I think it's really good. I think everything they did made a lot of sense.
Yeah. All right, next question coming in from Wargramps. We got two good question askers this week. I just want to say it. Tiger Ace and Wargramps are some of my favorite people. With the pre-patch about to happen, what new things are you looking forward to once it hits? We talked about a lot with the pre-patch. Anything that sticks out to you, Chicken?
Yeah, so I'm excited for the player housing stuff. Always excited for more decor and more endeavors. Like my wife's just like, oh my gosh, we need more stuff to decorate the house. We need it. Oh,
I need to go check it. Yeah, your wife told us that we need to check out your house now. So.
Oh yeah, you got to see if you can find our super secret room.
After this recording, we'll take a look.
Like the super secret room is pretty like. We did it together, and I'm like, there's no way people find this. There's no way.
I actually, by the way, I did find a way to make really hidden rooms. I don't think anyone else has found yet. I mean, you know me from my Minecraft days of making deeply hidden rooms, right? I found a method that, and when I say found, I don't mean like, I found on TikTok or something. Like, I don't think anyone else has figured this out yet.
Really?
Yeah. It was because I was goofing with crap as I normally do, right?
Is it in your house currently?
It is in my house currently. There is a secret passage somewhere in my house that leads you to an unfinished area. So at some point I'll have to finish it once I have some more house budget. But yeah.
Dang. That was definitely meant for someone to hear.
No. That was me being upset that my house budget is too
small.
small.
I thought you were trying to goof your wife and say, don't wait. Is it in your new house? Like your regular house?
My Alliance house. Yeah, my Alliance house has a hidden room.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Dude, does our guild have a horde house?
We do have a horde neighborhood. I'm not in it. I never got a plot in it because I was planning on doing a charter for the podcast, so I never. But
that's right.
Yeah, but then the other problem though is then you have to like dump a character in our horde guild, and then you miss out on all the awesome conversation that we have in the main guild.
True.
That's what it is. Anyways,
but yeah, I'm excited for the pre-patch or excited for pre-patch. I'm excited for the player housing stuff. I'm excited for generally like just the newness of classes. I do like when they kind of like reassess classes and make them different, make them updated, do that kind of deal.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that, but just like overall, just a difference, right? I'm excited for the next expansion. That's it. I really am.
Yeah. I'm so excited for the new pre-patch. Player housing is the big one for me, though. Player housing, I'm really excited to see some new stuff with. I'm going to have fun messing with some of the class changes, but again, class changes are right now often feel more inconvenient than good, right? Like,
yeah.
Because the problem right now is like you're getting all these changes, but you don't have you're not max level technically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like because max level now is 90. You're not going to be able to get to 90 in pre-patch, but your talents and your character is designed to be optimal at 90, right? Yes. So like everything's gonna feel a little awkward. Right now is like testing. Right now is a lot of testing for Midnight to make sure when Midnight comes that they're like totally ready. The transmog change is probably another one I'm really hyped for. So these are all cosmetic, but transmog and housing are the two that I'm like most hyped for.
Yeah. No, I think the transmog stuff is really cool.
Mm-hmm. So that'd be really good.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where that kind of goes and all that jazz, because that could be really good or it could be really rough.
Yeah.
I think it'll be really good. I think it's an adjustment. People will probably be upset, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. And with that said, that is everything we have for the Warband this week, and we can't wait to see you next week.
Yeah, buddy.